The message this week kind of picks up where I ended off last week. Last week I was talking about the difference between legalism and holiness, and how many in Jesus' time had confused the two. Jesus' disciples walking down the road, picking grain on the Sabbath day. A legalist says you can't do that. Somebody focused on holiness says that it's what's in your heart that counts. Holiness being that path, the only path to a deep, fulfilling relationship with our Creator God. And I said over the next few weeks I was going to be bringing some ways that we as a congregation and we as individuals can start leading more holy lives, embracing holiness as a way to get closer to God, as a way of falling deeper in love with God, as a way of growing in our own faith. So this is the first week I'm going to offer a way to grow in our holiness. And in some ways, it's going to be the easiest way. I'm not going to ask you to set aside any time in your life. I'm not going to ask you to do anything. There's no physical activity involved. So in a way, it's the easiest way, but then I got to thinking about it, it's probably actually one of the harder ways. Because I think a lot of people would rather do something physical than what I'm about to ask you to do. I'm going to ask you to change your mind. And I think that that's hard for a lot of us to do. A lot of us get very stuck up in our own headspace. We have a very hard time changing something that we think is going all right. We see this in every field around the world, every community. It's hard for people to change their minds. It's slow work. Sometimes it takes generations to change a way of thinking. I'm going to ask you to do it on a Sunday morning. Start. I want you to form a mental image of what crazy looks like. I don't want this to be some flippant idea of crazy. Truly think about a mental image of crazy in your mind. Is crazy somebody that acts differently than you? Is crazy somebody that acts strange compared to how you behave? Is crazy someone that acts unexpected, outside the norm? Do you associate crazy with mental illness, with bottles of medication, padded rooms, and doctors who also act as wardens? What is your mental image of crazy? All right, do you have that in your mind? I hope you do. Because I want you to apply that mental image of crazy right now to Jesus Christ. I want you to start associating the two ideas. Jesus Christ belonging in that mental image of crazy. Because in the gospel lesson that was just shared with us, Jesus is called crazy. Actually, they say he's out of his mind. That might be a nicer way to put it, but I think it's the same idea. These people are saying Jesus has lost it. And you know who is saying this? It's not Jesus' enemies that are saying he's crazy. It's not the people who want to get rid of him that are saying he's crazy. It's his family. His family is there saying, this guy has lost his gourd. And Jesus doesn't refute it. Jesus doesn't go, no, you got it wrong, I'm normal. Jesus jumps right in with both feet and says, yeah, I'm a little crazy. And he does that by doubling down on why they think he's crazy. So Jesus and his disciples have just come through this experience of picking the grain and saying, you're breaking the law. Well, that's kind of like saying you've stepped outside of the norm. You're a little crazy for doing that. You're going to be in trouble for doing that if you're not careful. So he said, saying, Jesus, you've lost your mind. And Jesus says, you think that's crazy? look, I got to show you next. So he starts casting out demons. And they say, Jesus, you can't do that. That's crazy. Only God can do that, or Satan himself. And you're surely not saying that you're God. And I don't think you want to call yourself Satan, Jesus, so you gotta be a little crazy to do this. Then he starts preaching about the kingdom of God. About a kingdom that is coming into this world that will change everything. And for people living under Roman oppression, that must have sounded absolutely bonkers. That God was going to come in and change everything. Because this was a people that had gotten so caught up in the legalistic parts of their faith, they forgot that God works miracles. And to hear Jesus say that a kingdom was coming must have sounded crazy. Doesn't stop there, though. Then he starts saying that forgiveness of sin is a real possibility. That out of God's abundant love, sin will be forgiven. That's not like presumptuous, Jesus. That's crazy. That's not how we know God to work. God smites the sinner, remember? God takes the sinner out to the wilderness and strikes him with a lightning bolt. But Jesus comes and says, sin will be forgiven. But he's not done. Then he goes on to heal people. And here's the crazy part again. He's doing it on the Sabbath. He didn't learn his lesson. Who is it that said the mark of insanity is doing the same thing twice and expecting different results? Jesus is crazy. He keeps doing the same thing. But here's the thing. Jesus isn't looking for the approval of others. He's not looking for the approval of his family. He's not looking for the approval of the religious leaders. He is looking for a deeper faithfulness with God. And sometimes that looks a little crazy. So here's where I want you to change your mind on something this morning. I want you to start thinking of yourself as kind of crazy. Or if you are already a little crazy, start thinking of yourself as very crazy. I want you to apply that mental image of crazy that you had to yourself. But I want you to think of yourself as Jesus kind of crazy. Jesus' family says he's lost his mind. That's not a good thing. That's not a good thing when your family is coming to you and saying, you've lost it, Jesus. They're not being flippant. They're not being coy. They're worried. They are deeply concerned. They're worried because Jesus is stepping outside of what is normal and what is expected. They're worried because there are repercussions to this. People are going to hate him. People are going to try to kill him. They're deeply concerned about Jesus because they have no idea what is going through his mind right now. My parents have often thought that of me. I want you to start being Jesus kind of crazy. I want you to live lives that are so different than what the world expects. That people can't help but look at you and say, I don't get it. I don't get how a life like that is possible. Except maybe God is working in your life. And that's where this connects into holiness. Because holiness itself is a kind of crazy. The world says nothing about holiness. You will not find it written in any laws of our government. You will not find it expected of you by any social contract. Holiness is something that the world is going to look at and say, I don't quite get it. I don't understand why you're living like that. I don't understand why you're spending so much of your life focused on these things that I have never even heard about. I want you to get kind of crazy with holiness. worship to become crazy. I want it to become unexpected. And I want it to change you unexpectedly. I want you to walk out these doors every Sunday and saying, I wasn't expecting that, but I feel good about it. And as you walk out the door, I want you to start embracing daily living that's kind of crazy. I want you to live a life that makes it so somebody looks at you and says, I don't understand why they're living like that. I don't get it, but it's doing something for them. And I want you to be able to say, it's the presence of God in my life. It's the presence of God in my life. And you can have that too. I want the time we spend investing and studying and reading Scripture, I want that to be crazy. I want us to be crazy in love with our Bibles. And I want people to look at us and say, I don't get it. I don't get why they like that book that is so old, that has so many stories of people whose names I can't even hope to pronounce in parts of the world I will never even see. Why are they so in love with these things? And I want you to be able to say, it's the presence of God in my life. It's God's presence in me that's making me crazy in love with this old book. I want our prayer lives to be a little crazy. No, not a little crazy. I want our prayer lives to be very crazy. I want us to pray when the Spirit moves us, to pray for one another. We've got that prayer list in our bulletins to pray for the people in our community that need our prayers. And we all know people in our lives that need prayers. But I also want us to be praying for ourselves, to pray for our own faithfulness. And I want us to pray for our enemies. I want us to pray for those who persecute us. I want us to pray for those who are confused by how we act. I want us to pray for our nation and our world. And here's the crazy part. I want you to believe that it matters. I want you to believe that your prayer matters. Not that it's an empty gesture or just time taken out of your day, but I want you to believe that your prayer is shaping your reality. Here's the last crazy thing I want from you. I want your family. And I want your family here in fellowship to be crazy. Now, a lot of us have crazy families already. And a lot of us maybe have neighbors with crazy families that I don't understand what's going on over there. I want people to look at us the same way. I want people to look at what's going on in this church and say, I have no idea what's going on there. But my God, it's doing something for them. Because the people that are in there being crazy together, they come out with joy in their hearts. They come out knowing something that I don't know. And I want some of that too. I want you to use the crazy in your life to invite the world in. Come and see what's going on. Come and experience the presence of God, and you will know why I do the things I do. So one more mental exercise for us. We had that image of crazy in our mind. Now I want you to put an image in your mind of church. Does that image just include four walls? Are there pews in your image? Maybe your image includes our order of worship, the songs we sing. But maybe your image can be the fellowship, can be this fellowship family that gathers together. And maybe that image can also go outside these doors. Maybe church can be that part of you that gets built up on Sunday morning that you carry with you all week long. Maybe church can be on a Wednesday when you are sick and tired of everything in your life and just want it all to come to a great conclusion. Maybe church can be the part of you that says, God is still there. God is still present. Maybe church can be around the dinner table. When you say, crazy thing happened to me today. Everything was going wrong. But then I remembered, God is with me. And everything was all right again. I want you to carry that church with you. I want that to be what makes your life a little crazy. I want to be a little crazy in your life, and you be able to point back and say, I got it. I got it back there on Sunday morning, but I carry it today. And because of that, I am growing closer and closer to Jesus Christ, not for an hour, but for 7 days a week. I want you to take church with you and let church make your life a little crazy. So that when the world looks at you, it says, I don't get it, but it's doing something. And I want it to. And we as a congregation, we've begun this work. Heck, we began it just coming here Sunday morning. Most people that don't go to church have no idea what is going on here Sunday morning. And you have a great opportunity to go home and say, we're being crazy together. We're losing our minds together, but we're being filled with the mind of Jesus Christ. Heck, that fish up here has taken on a new full-time job of trying to get a health certificate for breakfasts, and that's crazy because we're not paying her to do that. I want people to look at that and say, why the heck is somebody putting in that much time and energy into this? What are they getting out of it? And I want us all to be able to say, it's the presence of God in her life. We're going to be doing it in a few months with our backpack family. We're going to all be bringing in food together to bring to this family. And I want people to look around and say, why are you doing that for people you barely know? And for some of us don't know at all. And I encourage you to get to know this family this summer. Go on one of those food deliveries and get to know these kids. And know that in sharing these meals with them, we are sharing the presence of God. We've started it. We've started to chip away at that. We've started it, and sometimes we don't even notice it because we are so involved in it, we just think it's normal. But I assure you, to the rest of the world, it is so crazy that people give up this much of their time, this much of their lives, this much of their resources. Think about what it would look like if you gave up your life. If you made every moment of your life a living example of your faith. Somebody might say, I don't know what's going on in their lives, but my God is at work for them, and I want it too. So as we go forth today, let's live church together. Let's live our faithfulness together. And let's know that somebody out there is going to look at us and say, I can't figure it out. And that person saying, I can't figure it out, is the exact person you need to say, it's because God is in my life right now. God is doing this through me. And I want you to have that too. Let's go out and offer the craziness to somebody whose life must be beyond boring right now. Let's go out and be crazy with one another. Let's be in prayer. Lord God, when they said Jesus was out of his mind, they were only scratching the surface. Because God, it is so crazy to think that our Creator came to earth, loved us even to death, and promises to come again. God, it is a crazy story that we call the story of our lives. Lord God, help us to embrace that today. Help us to embrace the craziness in our lives as an expression of our faithfulness to God. I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.